Does your Wi-Fi give you issues constantly at home? Are you always scratching your head wondering what is going on? Well, I'm here to help with that today, and I'm going to share 5 fixes that are going to help you put your Wi-Fi at home in order without having to hire outside support or having to pay. I really hope these help. Now, before I get into these, I want to mention a couple of terms that I'm going to be using throughout this video, so that I can help you understand what it is that I mean when I mention these acronyms. So, number one, ISP. ISP stands for Internet Service Provider. And the second one is IP, which is Internet Protocol. And basically what it is just an address that your router or your Wi-Fi gives a device in order for it to be able to communicate. And the third one is gate address, or gateway address, sorry. So gateway address is essentially the address that you're able to access your router through. This is going to come in handy a little bit down the line when I talk about this particular point. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Fix number one, check your modem and or your ISP status. A lot of times when your internet starts cutting out or all of a sudden it just stops working altogether, you're like, well, what is going on? Before you start thinking about going on the phone and spending an hour potentially on hold, you should go and check your modem. Now, your modem, most people will have a separate modem from their router, and other people, the majority, will have a modem / router combo. Okay, both of them work very similar on the modem side, but regardless of the fact, both devices will tell you if it's connected to the internet or not. When it's normal, it'll show a green light indicating that it's connected. Some models will give a red light, and other models the light will turn off completely. So if you see the little globe and there's no light or there's a red light, that's an indication that potentially either your modem decided to take a break or your internet may actually be down, not just for you but for other people. So what you can do to check if it's just locally in your home is you can unplug the modem for about 60 seconds. Once you have it unplugged for 60 seconds, you can go ahead and replug it back in and let it boot up and reinitialize. When you see all of the lights turn green, then that indicates that it was just potentially your modem not working correctly and it needed to be reset. If that is not the case, then the next thing that you want to do is go to a website called downdetector.com. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you what that looks like. All right, so here we are, downdetector.com. So this website is super useful because it allows you to see multiple types of companies that offer services, and you want to make sure that you find the one that belongs to you. In my case, for me, Xfinity is the one that is in my area. So I'm going to go ahead and type Xfinity and buy Comcast. Now, if there's a problem, there will be an indication right here that says there's an outage, and sometimes they'll give a reason and sometimes they won't. So just be on the lookout for that. You can see the status by time and how long it's been out. Usually they'll be able to provide, sometimes they'll provide a time when it could potentially be back up, but most times they don't. If you want to see a map of the live outage, you can go here, and if there is an outage, it'll zoom in and show you the affected area. Now, if you check downdetector.com and you notice that there's no outages, then the next thing that you want to do is call your ISP, because it could be that they are doing maintenance either in your neighborhood or in your apartment complex, and that sometimes does not reflect in Down Detector. Down Detector only reports major outages, like if an entire region is down. So keep those things in mind. Fix number 2, replacing old routers. Now, most routers, they have about 5 to 7 year lifespan nowadays. And that actually is decreasing, right? So companies want to make more money. They want to ensure that you go back and buy a new device. So if you have a router from 2010, 2015, and it's good old faithful, that's great, but that can also be contributing to a lot of issues that are happening in your Wi-Fi at home. So some of the signs that your router is potentially starting to give out on you is the more connected devices there are, the more issues you start seeing with your internet connection. Or it could be that your internet plan, maybe you upgraded it to a higher speed, and that is not the, it's not picking up the way that it should. Maybe you got 300 megabits down, for an example, and you're only getting 150. That means that the router is the limitation in this case, because it only has a certain limit to where it can go to and not put out further than that. So getting a new router definitely is a must-have in that particular situation. The other thing is, if you know that your internet is good, but your router shows green light statuses, it could be that a radio has gone out. So every router has network radios that transmit the Wi-Fi signal, but those radios do go out because they're on 24/7, right? So eventually they will start giving out, they'll start going in and out, or completely crap out entirely. So make sure to look at that, and I'm gonna put some links to some recommendations in the description below if you're not exactly sure what you should get next or what is the latest and greatest. Fix number 3, securing your own network. Now, this one is going to be a really hard one for some of you to accept, but the truth of the matter is that a lot of you may have a very simple password associated with your Wi-Fi network, and that right there not only causes slower speeds, but it also causes privacy and security risks to your network at home. Now, you want to make sure that you change that password to something that is a lot more complex, because nowadays we are in an age where burglaries of a home is not the biggest concern. Now the biggest concern is someone getting into your bank account, someone grabbing hold of your home if you have a smart home. And one of those examples is someone being able to see your nanny cam. That is not good. If you have a baby at home and you have a nanny cam on the network and your password is password123, trust me, you don't want to be one of those people. And it happens every single day. And it could be that maybe your neighbor down the street, they managed to snag or actually guess your password, and they're smooching off of your internet connection, and that is also not a good thing. So make sure to secure your password in that way. Now, the way that you could do it is by logging into your router, whether that's through an app, or if you're comfortable enough, you're able to do it via the browser. So you are able to get the gateway address from your router that is on the back, and typically that will start with 192.168.0.1, or it could be 10.0.0.1. It varies, but you will always usually see it on the back of your router, and in there it should include the default username and password. These I suggest, highly suggest that you change those, because that is essentially the entrance into your network, and they can change, whoever is trying to break in, they can change your password to your Wi-Fi and completely lock you out for fun, and that is definitely not fun for you. Fix number 4, router location. Now, this may shock a lot of people, but where you put your router highly matters. A lot of people tend to want to hide their router because they hate how it looks. If that is the case, get a router that is aesthetically pleasing. Nowadays, we have such a huge variety of options that caters to everyone. Some people just like function over form, and some people like form over function. And then there's those few that like a good balance. Getting a router that is going to fit your needs is very important so that you can put it where it needs to be. And one of those locations that you want to put a router in is a centralized location, somewhere where it's going to cover all corners of your home if possible. Putting it in an elevated position like a countertop or maybe its own little table if possible. You want to also keep it away from other electronics. Keeping it next to the TV a lot of times can hinder your Wi-Fi connection, believe it or not. And definitely keeping it away from microwaves and refrigerators. So putting your router in the kitchen is definitely a big no-no. If you have an elongated home, whether that's a actual house or an apartment, and you have the kitchen in between the living room where you may have your router and then the bedrooms, that is going to cause a huge hindrance because that Wi-Fi has to fight through that airspace that is being taken up by the refrigerator, by the microwave. So keep that in mind. Moving your router from somewhere hidden or from the kitchen is definitely going to help. When you move it to an open space, it's going to boost your signal. And please do not put it in a cabinet. Again, putting it in a closed or in a very tight enclosed space hinders your Wi-Fi signal greatly. Fix number 5: Wi-Fi extenders and mesh systems for dead zones. So typically, if you have a big home, there's going to be dead zones, right, where you can't get any Wi-Fi no matter how strong of a router you get. It just doesn't seem to fix the problem. Now there is affordable options and there's mid-tier and then expensive options, right? I'm going to go over the affordable options and the mid-tier options for those of you that may not expect that this is something that you may need and you don't know it. So Wi-Fi extenders is one of them. This is something that is very common. You can find it at your local Best Buy or even Office Max. And when you buy this and you connect it into the wall, what it usually does is it takes your current Wi-Fi signal and then it repeats it. Now that's an easy solution because it works right out of the box. But the problem with that is now you got duplicate signals that are fighting against each other, and that typically will confuse your devices a lot of times on which one to connect to. So that could present a whole slew of issues. If you're putting it away from the strong area, the strong coverage area of your router, then that can help a little bit, but it's not going to be the fix that you want. Now, you could get a power line adapter, which is an adapter that connects to your wall outlet, and you connect a cable from your router to the adapter on the wall, and then you can plug the second pair of that power line adapter in another room and then connect that cable that comes out of that second pair to your computer to get internet connection. I've used that in the past and it's saved me greatly, but it definitely can be susceptible to electric surges when there's an appliance that draws a lot of power. It can cause severe network connection issues. So I got a better solution for you guys, and that is called mesh systems. I'm sure you guys have heard this of these before. Mesh systems are awesome because they're intended to extend a Wi-Fi network, and they use their own protocol to do so. So getting something like a set of Orbeez or Eeros. In my case, I have Ubiquiti network equipment, and currently with my situation at the moment, I have a Beacon HD extender that is on the other end of the house, and it communicates on its own protocol. And that's exactly what you want, right? So if you have the main router of the mesh system next to your modem in the living room, and then you decide that maybe you got a one extra node or two extra nodes, you can put those, one in your office and then another one in your bedroom for when you're in there. That's going to be ideal for you to be able to extend your network throughout your home. Now, even for small apartments, this can be an issue, right? Where a mesh system can greatly help, because think of this, you have 50 to 60 people living around you, and that's potentially 50 to 60 Wi-Fi networks that are all fighting for airspace. And usually mesh systems are really good at auto picking channels that will pick the best potential connection, right? So just remember that. Now, I got a bonus tip for you guys today, aside from these 5 fixes. And this one is a little bit of a biased one, but I'm a firm believer in this because I've had really, really bad luck with them in the past. But the bonus tip is avoiding your ISP provided modem / router. I know that it's really easy to fall into this and have the convenience of having your internet service provider's equipment, because they can go ahead and take care of it if there's a problem. And you know, you don't have to go out to the store and try to figure out what it is that you should get. But I promise you that right there is also being a potential hindrance to your Wi-Fi. And one of the big reasons is because most ISP providers, they offer the benefit of having Wi-Fi everywhere. And if you've ever noticed that whatever service you have, you may see Spectrum Wi-Fi when you're out and about walking outside, or you see Xfinity Wi-Fi, and so on and so forth. Yes, they offer Wi-Fi everywhere, but guess who's providing that Wi-Fi coverage? Customers like you. If someone is passing by your house and they're like, oh, I got Wi-Fi from my service provider, that means that they're connecting with their account login and using your bandwidth. And the reason that can happen is because the equipment that you have in your home is owned by the service provider, and they are allowed to share your internet connection with other customers. So my recommendation to you is keep the modem. Ask for a modem, tell them that's all I want. I don't want your modem router combination, and buy your own router. I've helped many people switch out of this particular method that they're using Wi-Fi, and they've purchased cheap, affordable mesh systems that are reliable, and it has greatly improved their connection. They went from freezing and dropping Zoom calls, or Netflix buffering every 5 minutes, to their internet connection just works as it should. Thank you so much for sticking through that video. I know that it was a lot of information to take in, but I want to know, which fix are you going to try? Let me know in the comments below. And if one of you has a very particular situation that is unique to yourself, I really, really want to know about it, because I want to try to help and see if there's a solution that I can provide you. I'll do my best to get to all of the comments. And until next time, thank you very much.